My friends, thank you for coming to check out Reflectionism number 4, where I'm going to share the 5 lessons I learned participating in the 100-Day Project. The 100-Day Project runs every year, and it's an opportunity for you to create for 100 days. I've been wanting to participate for a few years now, and it came up just because of COVID. Um, and honestly, I had went in with no expectations and had an awesome time and learned so much. So this is what it's all about. So I chose to paint Warhammer miniatures, uh, just one hour a day, because I've had these miniatures lying around for years and years, and I hardly put any time into them. And I think I'd finished about 50 models in my life, so over like 15 years, and it was a very kind of secondary hobby to a lot of my other hobbies. Um, and man, uh, I just tested like 2 models just before the start of the project to see if I could paint a whole model in an hour, and I got near enough, and I thought, stuff it, I'll just jump straight into it. And yeah, looking at these 100 models finished now, I just can't believe how both quickly and how long it felt. It both felt super long, but also felt really quick, and it's just super cool to have done so much work and learnt so much. So lesson number 1 is that I made the same mistakes over and over again until finally I actually actively addressed them and planned how I was going to not make those mistakes. So, for example, having that hour to paint a whole miniature, the stages that you kind of have to go through is putting down base coats. You apply a shade, which is another type of paint which sinks into the recesses to create more depth. And then after, I have to dry that in a fan under a fan, and then apply layer colors and then highlight the edges. So I really had to kind of break that process down, and it's so there was a lot of times early on where I was just missing out on finishing a miniature because I was spending way too long on base coats. And honestly, even towards the end, I'd make the same mistake again. Just when I'd change the type of model I was painting. Um, so until I catch myself and then say, okay, I need to shorten the base coat time again, then I was starting to finish models again. Number 2, uh, loose constraints produce loose results. So I had a timer running every time because I was only wanting to spend an hour on each miniature. Um, but if I didn't focus hard enough on those getting those base coats out early, um, you know, I would just kind of get lost in the process and the enjoyment of being in the moment, just trying to fix all the little bits and pieces, and the time would just absolutely fly by. Um, I did finish. I think about. Um, I think I did finish over half of them, but the times that I did finish them was when I was very adamant about finishing the base coats in about 20-25 minutes, and then I'd have all that extra time later on towards the end of the hour to tidy up any mistakes. Number 3, even some of the ones that I finished that were messy because I was rushing them, they're big models, I was still happy with the result when they were done. Um, I'm much happier with the models that are finished and look a little crap compared to ones that I've, maybe been a little bit too particular about getting them right or getting them really neat. Um, but they're still not finished because I spent too long trying to get the lines straight or whatever, or trying to get the consistency of the paint really perfect, and that's basically put more work on the table. So that's what number 4 is about, which is that if you don't stick to your goals, you create more work for yourself. So I went into this with the idea that I would be finishing these models within an hour every day. And even though I did do over half of them, there was a fair few that I didn't end up getting finished. And so I've created work for myself, um, in the sense that, the goal was to finish them all. Um, Still very happy with what I got done, but um, yeah, let's work on the table. So number 5 is doing that bulk work. Even if you have left some work on the table, um, doing all of that work, I can now make more decisions. So I've got all these collections of miniatures, and I want to paint them all and pop them away. Um, but now, because I've painted so much of this that I wouldn't have without doing this project, now I can actually see, oh, okay, cool. Now I can just work on, these few, and just kind of, it gives me that ability to, um, it's completely reshaped what the project was, because before it was 150 miniatures sitting there unpainted, and I'm just overwhelmed because there's so much work there to do. But now that I've done all of this bulk work, now the piece of the pie is so much smaller that, okay, now I can look at that and break that down into smaller pieces, more than having 150 models and just being like, shit, I don't even know where to start. Um, that was something really, really cool. Um, so another thing that's not really a lesson, but just a part of the experience, was that my time perception was so interesting um, to kind of feel, whether it would be on a day where the painting session would feel like the whole thing went really quick, or it felt like I had forever. The sizes of the models did vary, um, but it was just it just felt just so different from day to day, whether it was because I had less or more energy, or because um, you know it was in the morning or the evening. Um, but not only that, it was also during just the hour itself. Sometimes the base coat time felt like it was so long, and then as soon as I got into layering and highlighting, maybe because I'm like, when I'm layering and highlighting, I'm focusing on more smaller details, but it would feel like the time just is absolutely gone. Like, next thing, I've only got 5 minutes left. I'm going, shit, and like having to rush. Um, so that was super interesting. I think some of it has to do with maybe getting into flow state, which is something that's super cool and nerdy. I'll pop the TED talk down below if you're interested in that. And it's basically just being so consumed by what you're working on in the process and in the moment, that your perception of time gets completely warped. And so I think some of it has to do with that. So in summation, super super recommend doing the 100-day project, whether you're a painter or a musician or a writer or anything. Just, I couldn't I can't believe, looking at these 100 models, that that I did it, and the fact that it took me about an hour and a half each day, including prep time, to have just like gone through it. But the fact that I feel like I've gotten so much better at painting over the time as well. I'm kind of just keen to do another one, like straight off the bat, because now I've got another hour and a half back in my days. I'm like, man, what? Just thinking about what else would I have been doing if I wasn't doing that, and you know, so now, yeah, I've kind of got this hour and a half gap in my days, and I'm keen to just like do more work. So yeah, I guess the other main thing is that even on the days that I really didn't want to do the project, I woke up in the morning and I know I need to try and get the painting done before I go to work. I just forced myself to do it, and every single time, no matter how much I didn't want to paint beforehand, I'd be so keen to keep doing more afterwards. It just gave me this like extra energy to create more, which is so so cool. So super recommend to give it a go. I'll share some pickies of all the models after this, and yeah, they'll link to the TED Talk. So thanks for watching. Welcome to the showcase. This is one of obviously number 8, the Beastman. I was really surprised at how well that turned out so early on in the project. This here is, believe it or not, a black Skaven that I decided to try an albino color scheme with, which I thought was super cool. The zombies were one of my favorite lots of models that I did, and I was really stoked with doing this kind of dead human that I ended up using this paint yellow and black paint scheme later on, and had some effect paint on the shoulder there as well. This big guy was, one of the double sized models that I actually managed to completely get done, which is just crazy because it's big. And yeah, stoked with the color scheme as well. Aw, nice little doggo. I used Google to find dog patterns, and just really stoked with this color scheme, how it turned out, and it made those scars really pop, which was really cool. This guy was one of the first human models that I managed to get the eyeballs done on. I think he looks nice and crazy, and I really liked the green and cream colored cloaks as well. I managed to get all the highlights done on this one, so looks cute. And towards the end of the 100 days, I did these yellow and black guys, like that zombie earlier, and yeah, you can really see how much I'd improved after 95 days. Lots of details and lots of freehand black and yellow colors. Thanks for watching.